You've probably heard of Archangel Michael. He's often called the strongest angel in heaven. But there's more to his story than you might think. Michael isn't just a powerful warrior, he's a key figure in many faiths and has important lessons for all of us. Today, we're going to uncover the truth about this amazing being and why he matters so much. If we don't understand who Michael really is and what he does, we might miss out on some big spiritual lessons. Many people think of him as just a fighter or a protector. But Michael's role goes way beyond that. He's a teacher, a guide, and a symbol of good triumphing over evil. By learning about him, we can find ways to be stronger and braver in our own lives. Let's start with the basics. Archangel Michael is one of the most important angels in many religions. His name means "who is like God" in Hebrew. This name is actually a question, reminding us that no one is equal to God. In the Bible, Michael is described as a chief prince of heaven. He leads God's armies against evil forces. But Michael isn't just in the Bible. He shows up in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic texts. In all of these faiths, he's seen as a protector of the good and a fighter against darkness. Some people even call him the angel of death, but that's not quite right. He's more like a guide for souls, helping them on their journey after death. In the Bible, Michael appears in both the Old and New Testaments. In the book of Daniel, he's described as a protector of Israel. He fights against evil spirits and helps God's people. In the New Testament, in the book of Revelation, Michael leads the angels in a great battle against a dragon, which represents Satan. These stories aren't just meant to be cool action scenes. They teach us about the ongoing fight between good and evil. Michael shows us that with faith and courage, we can overcome even the scariest challenges. Now, you might be wondering what makes Michael so special. Well, he's got some pretty amazing abilities. First off, he's incredibly strong. In religious art, he's often shown holding a sword or spear, ready to fight off evil. But his real power isn't just physical strength. Michael has the power to banish fear and doubt. He brings courage and faith to those who call on him. Many people believe he can protect them from harm and guide them through tough times. Some say he can even help people find their true purpose in life. One of Michael's main jobs is being a protector. He's like a heavenly bodyguard for both individuals and whole groups of people. In Jewish tradition, he's seen as the guardian of Israel. For Christians, he's often called upon to protect the church and its members. But Michael doesn't just protect people from physical danger. He's also said to shield us from negative energies and evil influences. Some people pray to Michael for protection before traveling or when they're feeling scared or threatened. There are lots of stories about Michael stepping in to help people. In one famous tale from the Middle Ages, Michael appeared on top of a castle in Italy during a storm. He's said to have protected the town from destruction. This story was so popular that the castle is now called Castel Sant'Angelo, St. Michael's Castle. In more recent times, many people have shared personal stories of feeling Michael's presence during scary situations. Some say they felt a sudden sense of calm and safety when they've called on him for help. While we can't prove these stories, they show how much comfort the idea of Michael's protection brings to many people. Now, let's talk about Michael's role as a warrior. This is probably what he's most famous for. In religious texts, Michael is often described as the leader of God's armies. He fights against evil forces to protect goodness and light. The most famous story of Michael as a warrior comes from the Bible's book of Revelation. In this story, there's a big war in heaven. Michael and his angels fight against a dragon, which represents Satan and its evil angels. Michael wins, and the dragon is thrown down to earth. This story isn't just about a cool battle in the sky. It's meant to teach us that good is stronger than evil, and that with faith and courage, we can overcome any challenge. In art and stories, Michael is often shown with special weapons. The most common is a fiery sword. This sword isn't just for fighting, it's also a symbol. It represents the power of truth to cut through lies and confusion. Sometimes, Michael is also shown with a set of scales. These scales remind us of his role in judging souls and helping them find their way after death. In some traditions, it's said that Michael weighs people's good deeds against their bad ones. But Michael's greatest weapon isn't something you can hold in your hand. It's his unwavering faith and his connection to God's love. These give him the strength to face any enemy without fear. What's really interesting about Michael is that he shows up in many different religions. We've talked a bit about his role in Judaism and Christianity, but he's important in Islam too. In the Quran, Michael, or Michael, is one of the 4 main archangels. He's in charge of the forces of nature, like rain and thunder. In some forms of Hinduism, there's a figure called Kartikeya who's a lot like Michael. He's a warrior god who fights against demons. In ancient Greek and Roman myths, the god Mercury, or Hermes, had some things in common with Michael too. He was a messenger of the gods and a guide for souls. Even in some New Age spiritual practices, Michael is seen as an important figure. People call on him for protection, guidance, and help in spiritual growth. So, why does all this matter? What can we learn from these stories about Michael? Well, there are some big lessons here that can help us in our everyday lives. First, Michael teaches us about courage. He's always ready to stand up against evil, no matter how scary it might be. We can learn from this to be brave in facing our own challenges. Second, Michael shows us the importance of protection. Just like he guards heaven and earth, we can learn to protect the people and things that matter to us. This might mean standing up for someone who's being bullied, or taking care of our environment. Third, Michael reminds us about the power of faith. His strength comes from his complete trust in God. This teaches us that when we believe in something bigger than ourselves, we can find strength we didn't know we had. Lastly, Michael's role as a guide for souls shows us the importance of helping others. We can all be like Michael by guiding and supporting the people around us, especially when they're going through tough times. These lessons aren't just nice ideas, they can make a real difference in our lives. Think about a time when you were scared to do something. Maybe it was starting a new school, or standing up to someone who was being mean. By remembering Michael's courage, you might find the strength to face your fears. Or maybe you know someone who's going through a hard time. By thinking of Michael's role as a protector and guide, you might be inspired to reach out and offer help. Even small acts of kindness can make a big difference. And when life gets tough and you feel like giving up, remembering Michael's unwavering faith might help you keep going. Just like Michael never doubts in the final victory of good, we can hold on to hope even in dark times. Michael's role as a protector. One of Michael's most important jobs is being a protector. In many stories and traditions, he's seen as a powerful guardian who watches over people and keeps them safe. This isn't just about fighting off bad guys, it's about providing comfort and security to those who need it. In the Bible, there are several stories that show Michael as a protector. One of the most famous is from the book of Daniel. In this story, Michael is described as the great prince who protects the people of Israel. He stands up for them during times of trouble and helps them through difficult periods in their history. Another important story comes from the book of Jude in the New Testament. Here, Michael is shown protecting the body of Moses from the devil. This story teaches us that Michael doesn't just protect the living, he also looks after those who have passed on. These ancient stories might seem far removed from our daily lives, but the idea of Michael as a protector is still important to many people today. Some folks pray to Michael when they're feeling scared or threatened. Others keep images or statues of Michael in their homes as a way of inviting his protective energy. But Michael's protection isn't just about keeping us safe from physical harm. Many people believe he can also protect us from negative thoughts, bad influences, and spiritual dangers. This kind of protection is about keeping our minds and spirits healthy, not just our bodies. While Michael is known as a protector, he's also famous for being a powerful warrior. In many stories and works of art, he's shown as a strong fighter, ready to battle against evil forces. This warrior aspect of Michael is really important in understanding his role in spiritual beliefs. The most well-known battle involving Michael comes from the book of Revelation in the Bible. In this story, there's a huge war in heaven. Michael leads an army of angels against a dragon, which represents Satan and its followers. After a fierce fight, Michael wins, and the evil forces are thrown out of heaven. This isn't the only battle Michael fights in religious stories. In some Jewish traditions, he's said to have fought against the angel Samael. In Islamic traditions, Michael and the other archangels are described as fighting against Iblis, another name for Satan, and his followers. These battle stories aren't just exciting tales, they have deeper meanings. They're often seen as symbols of the ongoing fight between good and evil, or between light and darkness. When Michael defeats evil in these stories, it's a way of showing that good will always win in the end, even if the battle is tough. In our own lives, we might not be fighting actual dragons, but we all face challenges and struggles. Michael's battles can inspire us to be brave and keep fighting for what's right, even when things get difficult. In many paintings and statues, Michael is shown with special weapons and armor. The most common is a fiery sword, which he uses to fight against evil. This sword isn't just a weapon, it's also a symbol of truth and justice cutting through lies and darkness. Sometimes, Michael is also shown wearing shining armor. This armor represents protection, but it's also a symbol of righteousness and purity. The idea is that when we put on goodness and truth, they protect us just like armor protects a warrior. One of the most interesting things about Michael is that he's important in many different religions and spiritual traditions. While the stories about him might be a bit different in each tradition, there are often common themes that run through all of them. In Jewish tradition, Michael is one of the most important angels. He's often seen as a protector of Israel and is mentioned several times in ancient Jewish texts. In some stories, he's described as the angel who helped Abraham, guided the Israelites through the wilderness, and fought against Israel's enemies. Jewish teachings also say that Michael is kind and patient with humans, even when they make mistakes. He's seen as an advocate for people, speaking up for them before God. In Christian tradition, Michael plays a big role too. He's mentioned by name in the Bible and is considered one of the archangels. Christians often see Michael as a defender of the church and a protector against evil. Many Christians pray to Michael for protection and strength. There's even a famous prayer called the St. Michael Prayer that asks for his help in fighting against evil. In some Christian churches, Michael is honored with special feast days. In Islamic tradition, Michael, known as Michael, is also an important figure. He's one of the 4 main archangels and is mentioned in the Quran. In Islamic teachings, Michael is in charge of the forces of nature, like rain, thunder, and lightning. Muslims see Michael as a friend to humanity. There's a belief that he and the angel Gabriel were the first to bow down before Adam when God created him, showing respect for humankind. Even though the details might be different, there are some common ideas about Michael in all these traditions. In all of them, he's seen as a powerful protector, a fighter against evil, a helper and guide for humans, someone closely connected to God. These shared ideas show how important Michael is in many different spiritual beliefs. They also show how people from different backgrounds often have similar hopes and values. Even in more modern spiritual practices, Michael continues to be an important figure. Many people who aren't part of traditional religion still feel a connection to Michael. They might see him as a symbol of protection, courage, and truth. In some New Age beliefs, Michael is seen as a powerful energy or force that people can call on for help and guidance. Some people use meditation or visualization techniques to connect with what they see as Michael's energy. Whether in ancient traditions or modern practices, Michael remains a powerful symbol of protection, courage, and the triumph of good over evil. His stories and the ideas he represents continue to inspire and comfort people all around the world. Lessons we can learn from Michael. Even if you're not religious, there's a lot we can learn from the stories about Archangel Michael. These lessons can help us in our everyday lives, no matter what we believe in. One of the biggest lessons we can learn from Michael is about courage. In all his stories, Michael never backs down from a fight against evil. He's always ready to stand up for what's right, no matter how tough things get. We can use this idea in our own lives. Maybe you're facing a bully at school, or you're scared about a big test coming up. Thinking about Michael's courage can help us find our own bravery. It reminds us that we can face our fears and do what's right, even when it's hard. Michael is often called the Great Protector. This teaches us about the value of looking out for others. Just like Michael guards heaven and earth, we can protect the people and things that matter to us. This doesn't mean we have to fight battles. It can be as simple as standing up for a friend who's being treated unfairly or taking care of our environment. When we protect others, we make the world a little bit better. In all the stories about Michael, his strength comes from his faith. He believes completely in what he's fighting for. This shows us the power of having strong beliefs and sticking to them. You don't have to believe in angels to use this lesson. It's about finding something you truly believe in, maybe it's kindness, or justice, or making the world better. When we have strong beliefs, it can give us strength we didn't know we had. Many people find comfort and strength in connecting with what they see as Michael's energy. Even if you're not sure about angels, these practices can be a way to focus on positive qualities like courage and protection. One way to connect with Michael's energy is through prayer or meditation. This doesn't have to be complicated. You can simply close your eyes and imagine a bright, blue light surrounding you. This light represents Michael's protective energy. As you sit quietly, you might want to ask for help with something that's bothering you. Maybe you need courage for a tough situation or protection from negative thoughts. Just speaking these needs, even if only in your mind, can help you feel more calm and confident. You can also think about Michael's protective energy as you go about your day. Some people like to imagine a shield of blue light around them when they're in a scary or stressful situation. Others might wear a piece of jewelry that reminds them of Michael's protection. The idea is to create a habit of feeling safe and protected. When we feel this way, we're often braver and kinder in our daily lives. There are some ideas about Michael that are pretty common, but not always accurate. Let's look at a few of these and see what religious texts actually say. One big misunderstanding is that Michael is the angel of death. This isn't quite right. In most religious texts, Michael is more of a protector and guide for souls. He might help souls on their journey after death, but he's not responsible for causing death. Another mistake people sometimes make is thinking Michael is all-powerful, like God. While Michael is very strong in the stories about him, he's still an angel, a servant of God. He has limits to his power and always acts according to God's will, not his own. Movies, TV shows, and books sometimes show Michael in ways that aren't quite in line with religious texts. They might make him more of an action hero or give him powers he doesn't have in traditional stories. While these can be fun, they're not always accurate to the original religious ideas about Michael. Understanding these differences is important because it helps us get a clearer picture of what Michael represents in spiritual traditions. It's not about proving anyone wrong, but about understanding the deeper meanings in these ancient stories. When we clear up these misunderstandings, we can better appreciate the lessons in Michael's stories. We see him not as a superhero, but as a symbol of courage, protection, and faith, qualities we can all try to develop in ourselves. As we've explored the stories and ideas about Archangel Michael, we've seen that he's much more than just a powerful angel. He's a symbol of courage, protection, and the triumph of good over evil. These ideas have been important to people for thousands of years, and they're still relevant today. Whether you see Michael as a literal being or as a symbolic figure, his stories have valuable lessons for all of us. They teach us to be brave in the face of challenges, to protect those who need help, and to have faith in something bigger than ourselves. You don't have to believe in angels to benefit from these ideas. The qualities that Michael represents, courage, protection, and standing up for what's right, are things we can all strive for in our daily lives. Next time you're facing a tough situation, feeling scared, or wanting to help someone, think about the stories of Michael. Let them inspire you to be a little braver, a little kinder, and a little more protective of the good things in the world. In the end, whether Michael is real to you or just a story, the most important thing is how we treat each other and ourselves. If we can bring a little more of Michael's courage and kindness into the world, we'll all be better for it.